Welcome to Jurassic Reviews. On this episode, we'll be taking a look at a figure made by Kenner. That figure is the Lost World Jurassic Park Triceratops. Before we begin, if you enjoyed these videos, be sure to like and subscribe. Here's a look at the packaging. Looking at the front, here you can see the nickname Trike, as well as the included capture gear. This Triceratops is much smaller than the one depicted in the film, and smaller than the Triceratops Kenner made for the first movie. It almost can be looked at as a juvenile in this regard. Kenner, for the most part, kept most of their dinosaurs in scale with the humans, and if this was intended as an adult, it's one of the few times they didn't stick to that scale, similar to the larger Pachycephalosaurus that I previously reviewed, and the Spinosaurus in this line, which I'll cover in a later video. I choose to look at this figure like it's a juvenile Triceratops, especially since Kenner almost released a larger Triceratops for the Lost World Series 2 line that would end up being cancelled. It stands a little over 3 inches tall and is 7.5 inches long from head to tail. It was released in 1997 and retailed for $4.99. The sculpt is decent enough, with pretty good detail. I do not think it's among the best figures in this line, but I still think it's an okay toy. It's in a pretty neutral pose, which I like, and details like the folds in the skin and different wrinkles on the body and legs look pretty good. The head sculpt is also decent, which display its 3 horns this dinosaur is known for, though these ones won't be large enough to fend off any adult T-Rexes from this line. The paint job is also just okay. It doesn't really stand out, and honestly, when I get into the repaints, I pretty much feel the same about all of them. For whatever reason, they never gave this Triceratops sculpt anything that stands out paint-wise. Not even any cool display of color on the crest. This figure is painted a dark green, with darker shades of green found on the back and going on down its curved tail. Underneath the body, neck, and tail it's painted white, a color also found on the head. The toenails are left unpainted, as they sport the same dark green color found on the body. Its JP mark can be found on its leg. This one's number is 44. Looking at the head, like I just mentioned, there is some white paint here that contrasts with the darker green. It's found on the horns and parts of the crest, as well as the beak. Its eyes are painted yellow with black pupils, and inside the mouth you'll see its pink tongue. Now let's move on to the repaints, of which there are quite a few. Interestingly, the first planned repaint on this figure did not get a release, as it was to appear in the cancelled sequel to the Chaos Effect line, the Night Hunter line in 1999. Like many of those cancelled dinosaurs that were repaints in the Night Hunter line, their sculpts would see first releases as repaints in the Walmart exclusive Jurassic Park Dinosaurs line in 1999, a line meant to promote Universal's theme parks, places where these toys also appeared outside of Walmart. This is the brightest paint job this Triceratops sculpt would receive, sporting a blue body with an orangish color in place of the darker green on its back. Underneath its body, neck, and tail, it's painted brown, though white paint is still found on its head for the horns and beak, and its eyes are painted white this time around with black pupils. Where the Lost World version had white parts along its crest, it's now left unpainted, remaining the same blue color found everywhere else. The same can be said for inside the mouth, where the tongue is no longer painted. Its JP mark can be found on its leg, which is painted black. The next release would occur in the Jurassic Park 3 line, released in 2001. It would make 2 appearances in this line, though one is a pretty uncommon repackaging of the previous Jurassic Park Dinosaurs figure, put out by Hasbro Mexico. For the main Jurassic Park 3 line though, it, along with a Cyclops Raptor, would be the only Kenner dinosaur sculpts to make an appearance. They both appeared together in a Jurassic Park Walmart exclusive set, called the Dino Tracking Set. For Jurassic Park 3, the old line scale was thrown out the window, switching to 3 3/4 scale humans, and dinosaurs that really wouldn't scale at all. This set though would include a 4-inch human, a repaint of the Jurassic Park Dinosaur Series 2 Harpoon Harrison. Looking at just the Triceratops, it's almost like a mix of the Dinosaurs version and the Lost World version. It goes back to a dark green paint job, but includes the orange along its back, though this orange also makes an appearance on the crest this time around. Underneath the body, neck, and tail, it's left unpainted, but for the first time the toenails are painted, which they are white. The JP3 mark is on its leg, though on the opposite leg of the previous 2. Looking at the head, the horns and beak are painted white, but they are much dirtier looking with some brown thrown in there, and the tongue is painted again, which is pink. The eyes are the opposite of the dinosaur's version, painted black with white pupils. The final repaint of this figure would occur in the second Jurassic Park Dinosaurs line, released in 2004 as a KB Toys exclusive. It would join 3 other Kenner sculpts in this line, all being packaged with humans. I do not own the loose version of this figure, so we'll just have to look at a packaged one. This Triceratops stands out just a bit more than the previous ones, mainly thanks to a more glossy looking paint job. It's mostly painted brown with lighter brown spots found throughout the body and on the head. The toenails are again painted, which they're black this time around. The horns and beak on the head are painted white, and it has brown eyes with orange pupils. Inside the mouth is also painted again, which shows a pink tongue. The JP mark is on its leg and is painted white this time. Let's take a quick look at the articulation for this figure, which there's not a whole lot. The legs can move, though one of them is tied to the action feature. For the action feature, you'll pull its back right leg back. This will cause its head to tilt up, giving it a bit of a ramming effect. It's nothing crazy, but it's fine for what it is. Now let's talk rarity. The first release is probably the most common, as it's the only one that wasn't a store exclusive. Loose samples are in the $5 to $10 range, and box versions around the $50 to $60 range. The second release is a bit more uncommon, though still not really expensive, maybe $5 more for loose and packaged. The third release is a bit different, since it's part of a set, a rare one at that. The Triceratops by itself isn't too much more than the previous 2, but a box set might end up in the $200 range, depending on the condition. The final release is probably just as rare as the Jurassic Park 3 version, with loose samples in the $30 range, and box versions going for $100 or more. These prices are not official or anything, you can always find them for more or less. Before I give my rating for this figure, here's a comparison with other figures. Here it is with a Kenner 4-inch human and a Mattel 3 3/4 scale human. Here it is with a Velociraptor. Here it is with the Parasaurolophus. And here it is with the Thrasher T-Rex. For a rating out of 10, I give all of these figures a 5. It's a pretty basic figure, and I think there are better Triceratops figures released by both Kenner and Mattel, and even Hasbro out there. I think the second Jurassic Park Dinosaurs version is the best of the bunch, but that's only because the paint stands out just a little bit more. I'd say go for the Lost World version if you really want one, as it's probably the easiest and cheapest to come across. Outside of those who are trying to complete every line, I'd say you could pass on this one. And that does it for the Kenner Lost World Triceratops. Thanks for watching and see you next time.